times of the Great Resignation, what do you all feel as Total Rewards, professionals or heads of CNB? What role does the CNB or the Total Rewards function has to kind of tide in this Great Resignation?
I think the first and the foremost being, I think, coming from an HR perspective, being the human health. That has become the core business agenda. Earlier, it used to be more like an HR agenda. We have all heard about, companies implementing different health initiatives, wellness initiatives. But I think the need of the hour is to have an integrated approach to health and well-being rather than I think just as a one-off running some seminars, running some webinars in the form of well-being. I think an integrated approach is really important, and defining, for each organization it could be different. What's their health and well-being agenda? One of the important things is the diversity and inclusion agenda. I think never have we seen in the organizations having tracking the diversity and inclusion agenda as closely as at this point of time. I think be it in terms of the matrix, be it in terms of running women development programs, or be it in terms of recognizing different communities. The diversity and inclusion is not just a numbers kind of a tracking, but it has spread to each and every metric for us. And I think now this has also become a business agenda, because if it would have been a human resources agenda, I think we would not have seen such a thrust. This being reported in the annual statements, proxy statements of companies. I think this is an important evolution which has happened. And I think the focus on talent, and what we have seen is, that's the third point which I want to say. These are the three clear points. And from a talent perspective, what I see is that for us specifically, and for other organizations also, I think tech has emerged as one of the areas where we have seen great war for talent. We have heard about some of the other companies focusing on tech talent, not being able to hire tech talent specifically in Bangalore. We had heard about all these statements. I think that's been our focus area, and now I think it's shifting to not only tech talent but across other areas as well. Be it in terms of sales and supply chain, be it in terms of manufacturing and operations. I think the change is the name of the game across the talent agendas.
I personally would want to start in a slightly tangential angle because this is a question that's posed, I think, to a lot of people, and it's been posed to me also in multiple areas, that what do we do? There is a resignation wave out there. So there's a market, there is a reality that's happening in the market. So what do we do, right? So and what do we do as Total Rewards or HR professionals, right? That's the context of the question. So I would basically start with the context that, first and foremost, we as HR function, and Total Rewards being part of HR, has to act as enablers. And when I say act as enablers, you have to understand who you are as an organization to start with, right? Are you an early stage startup? Or are you in a fast growing phase? Or are you a company which is already established, which having established revenue streams? The way you're going to react to this market scenario would entirely different based on this context that you have. Like, for example, if I have to give an example, like if you are an organization with established revenue streams, then the biggest, I would say, head in your balance sheet, or sorry, P&L, which will come between your EBITDA positive and contribution margin, is your employee cost. Then cost optimization becomes a priority for you. But if you're an early stage startup churning out, tech products, which might give you revenue maybe 2 or 3 years down in the future, then you may not have that kind of a wherewithal to, let your tech talent leave. You would still want your tech talent to be retained. You would still want people to come and build your products from day one. So I think it's that context that becomes very essential. And as HR professionals, we have to enable that context with the business and give that kind of a flavor before we start solutioning. I think, and that's how we kind of make our roles also more strategic. Otherwise, it will become a very tactical response to the reality that's happening in the market. So that being the first point, the second point is whenever there's a market scenario, you need not react in the way that some of your market peers are reacting, because the reality for you as an organization will be fundamentally different. So for example, if I'll take an example of our organization, because we have very established revenue streams, right? So we obviously cannot react the way a lot of other tech companies are reacting, because uh, we have built a lot of products. We continue to build a lot of products for the future. And the kind of talent that we would require for each and every of these scenarios is slightly different. The kind of product who will come and build your products may not be the kind of talent who will come and iterate and manage your products. And the way you reward them, the way you motivate them, all becomes fundamentally different, right? So, I mean, it's that context that becomes very important. And that's how you then kind of link your rewards management to the strategy, the overall strategy.
I think I wouldn't stress much on the health and well-being part of it. I completely am in agreement. It's become culturally important, not just as an initiative, but culturally important for us to focus, not even as initiatives or programs, but really upskilling managers, upskilling leaders to make it a culture of listening to someone's health related pieces, someone's family related pieces. That's what has shifted, or as HR professionals, not just total rewards professionals, but really as HR professionals, we need to start to listen and start to upskill our managers to be more empathetic. That's one thing. But taking on from there, one interesting thing that has happened, the shift from full-time employee to consulting modes, to gig economy of all natures, right? In Times Internet, we are hugely focusing on build now rather than buy. While everyone refers to this as great resignation, I love the term that I think I read in one of the Microsoft reports. It says great reshuffle. And I totally believe in the great reshuffle. A reason being that, we've reshuffled our priorities as individuals. You see, as organizations, we are all a summation of who we are as individuals. Our aspirations have changed, our priorities have changed. We keep ourselves, our families and loved ones before anything else now, with whatever has happened in the last 2.5 years. Given the shift in individual priorities, it's important for the organization to understand and be able to be agile and match this kind of an aspiration shift that an individual has had with whatever organization priorities that there are. How do I marry what the individual wants with what the organizational collective vision is? That's an important part. And that's where we, as Times Internet, we've always believed in that, we can't succeed. But I think priorities at the forefront have shifted.
See, compensation has always been one of the reasons why people leave, right? So if you pick up any ESAT survey, you'll see the lowest scores across compensation, right? So there's always somebody who's ready to pay you more in the market. But over these years, as COVID hit and people face challenges, I think the scope of this whole total rewards has expanded much. Like Vimal said, from a health and well-being to the kind of career that we are providing to them. The focus has shifted on what kind of career am I going to get in this organization, right? That's the kind of questions that we need answers to. What has been the connect with the organization? This being a virtual world, right? People were spaced apart. You didn't get time to spend as a team, right? So how far have we developed our managers' listening capabilities? How far have they established those connects? What is it that they have gone and done above and beyond to ensure that, it's one cohesive team? And that's what we are doing, right? And the focus on benefits. Till some years back, it was, just a basic hygiene factor, right? This is the minimum that I need to do. But what am I doing beyond that for my employees, for their families? That shows how much I'm thinking about them. And that's where we go beyond compensation to other aspects. How much am I going to grow out here? Is somebody thinking about me as an individual? So all those factors are coming in. And I agree, it's also about what kind of talent is most critical for you and where it makes business sense for you to invest on, and where is it that you need to further go ahead and build. Absolutely agree with Priyambi, right? Whether it's campus, it's tie-ups with certain certification institutes and all of that. That's how we build their talent and the kind of mobility we are providing them. So do I have the option to learn something new and move to a different function altogether? Because probably that is what interests me today. So is my organization supportive enough for me to do that? I think that is the kind of questions people are answering and asking. And if we are able to provide them the answers within, that could be one of the way we tackle the great reshuffle or the great resignation, as we call it.
I think I would like to go back to what Priyambi said about priorities changing. I think that's something that has happened in the past 2 years quite drastically. If you look at it from a compensation or a rewards perspective, we always have philosophies that drive our strategies or priorities, however you like to call it. But we always have that philosophy. I feel over the years, or at least in the short span of time I've worked, these 8 years, this philosophy has not changed. So, for example, a pay for performance has remained throughout the 8 years, 9 years around. I've been around. I think we can go back and look at these philosophies. I think we can go back and see, oh, does a pay for performance work for me? No, because there is a particular set of people I'm losing out. These guys are getting upskilled. These guys are trying to do new things. They want to move here and there. I think philosophies can now be kind of customized to particular groups. It might be just based on skill. It might be based on tenure, but you needn't have a concrete philosophy that runs throughout the organization, like pay for performance. You can now kind of customize it and work it within 3 or 4 groups within the organization to get that best, get your best foot forward and, drive strategy. I think at the end of the day, what Total Rewards does is it should be aligned with business strategy and help drive that.
I think one of the agenda points which we are working on, Varun, is that through our benefits philosophy, how do we institutionalize a culture of care? That's been one of the ways in which we are currently revamping all our benefits policies and relooking at each one of them.